Now you may have come from a different background where it's harder to come up, you know what I mean?
Well, but of the two people in question, you have had a harder time, no doubt.
Wait, because of my past though.
A lot of money.
Wait, how to say that?
Really important in a relationship because if you're, making
Earning a wage is exploitative by design. He said,
yeah, no, that nigga is just against the money.
As a work.
No one's gonna convince me of two things here. This nigga hates money, and that nigga loves this nigga's dick. All right. You know the vibe. Abdul has arrived, and today we're watching Jubliee. Look, we're not watching our regular anime.
So the thing is, if people actually research credit and learn how to build it properly, it's easy to get money. And the cool thing about credit is, if you invest and you fuck up, you could just let it go to collections and dispute it all up anyway.
Yeah, there's someone that suffers at the end of that system. So.
I was making
that
money
true?
and I was paying my bills.
I'm about to do that. Wait, so all my credit cards getting maxed out. What?
Where did it go wrong?
No, I'm about to get credit cards to max them out. No, that's crazy. No, that's crazy as shit.
Step forward if you've made less than 1K in 2024.
How is that even possible? Yeah, literally.
Less than 10K in 2024.
Oh, okay, they're cooking niggas out.
Less than 40K in 2024.
Bro, I get it. Why are they being this loud?
Less than 60K
bro.
in 2024.
YouTube don't even pay me yet. Like, what's your excuse?
Less than 300K in 2024.
Oh, shit.
Less than 600K in 2024.
Oh, shit. No, that's a flex. Hold on.
Less than 5 million in 2024.
A nigga still standing? Oh, don't talk your
Less than
shit.
9 million in 2024.
Less than 10.
Is that even enough time?
No, fucking flex, yo,
We're
what?
clapping for the rich guy?
Yeah.
Rich people should be taxed more.
Wait, what are they doing? They didn't discuss. Wait. Is Jubilee trolling? They didn't discuss. What's going on? Rich people should be taxed more. Low key, I'm not gonna lie. Usually in these Jubilee videos, I be like speaking my opinion because I feel like valid. But in this case, I'm a broke ass nigga. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, all we're gonna be doing is reacting for the most part. I don't even think I have any inputs, and it'd be like unwise of me to give input, knowing that I'm not in a position to give input. So look, let's just see what they say and whether we agree or not.
I remember back when,
but I feel like they
America was
should
first
give more taxes,
and
right?
Taxes were looked at as a privilege. Like, it was something that people looked forward to. People, use it as a badge of honor that they had made it to a point where they could use their success to benefit the rest of society. It was something that they used as like a stamp of, I've made it, I've done my part, I've become so successful.
Trolling? I feel like no rich man in history has ever said that.
On taxes being used, in the correct way to like actually benefit society and not, go to corrupt politicians. But overall, like, especially as someone who's considered like upper middle class, rich, someone who's considered wealthy, I have no problem and think that I should be taxed higher. I purposely don't take advantage of tax loopholes that I could, even though it'd be very easy to, because I would rather that money, instead of it, being saved and going directly to myself, I'd rather go to fund school systems and, other institutions that can't get funding other ways.
Government is, captured by special interest lobby groups that lobby on behalf of their constituents, corporations, and they write the tax code. And the tax code is written in a way that benefits corporations and it disadvantages working class people. And the very fact that you can tax an income, for instance, and not tax what they call unrealized gains is a great injustice in our society.
But then you can take a loan against it and then profit from the loan.
Then it's like you can buy Twitter off of your, with a leveraged buyout by using your unrealized gains as collateral. But when it comes time to tax those unrealized gains, oh, sorry, they're unrealized. You don't have it. It's not actually materially a part of it.
So don't know that I'm on board with the tax unrealized gains, but the big thing that had me walking out here is you constantly see that like billionaires, millionaires, etc., they pay a lower marginal tax rate than like teachers and stuff. And that is like the biggest thing to me that like never quite made sense.
That's
if we're all kind of in this system together, why are we not at least all paying the same percentage of our?
Because we're not in this system together. It's
we're
two,
not.
It's two
Come
tiered.
on, man.
There's a separate rules for the rich as there are for the poor, and
rules are for peasants. How I tell you, I'm not gonna lie. Look, personally, I'm not rich, But if I am, I'm taking advantage of every tax loophole. Like, I don't give a fuck. And I'm probably gonna flex it too. Like, yo, fuck y'all. Cause I've been broke my whole life. Like, bro, what? Ain't no way I'm going back. No, I'm taking advantage. But at the same time, I'm not greedy. I can see myself giving to charity and shit like that. But that's like of my own like free will. Y'all not taking my money because y'all want to take it. Like, that's how I tell you, bro. How I tell you.
Let's invite the disagreeers.
That's okay.
The reason why I didn't step forward, which was, should rich people pay more taxes? If I could know with certainty that my taxes, paying more of them, would go to benefit schools or homeless veterans or, you know, struggling single moms or, you know, whatever the causes are, I'd be glad to. My concern is that once that money's gone, it can go off to fund war crimes in other countries and bomb villages to take their oil and all this other bullshit. And when I keep more of my money, like there's a school.
Is that not the truth? We just don't
like
know.
12 minutes from my house, where I paid all the lunch debt for that school, you know, like, and that was fine for me to do. But had I not had that money to pay that lunch debt because it went to the government, I don't know if that would go to that school or if it's going to go bomb some country, right? So
No. A lot of y'all might be like stubborn thinking, what? Of course it goes back to us. Like, yo, y'all gotta like dead ass think about it. I don't know where y'all live, but if y'all live in like the ghetto areas, like, bro, you got potholes everywhere. And the same thing I hear niggas say is, oh, tax dollar, tax dollar, tax dollar. The floor is never fixed. Like, bro, I'm telling you, y'all will pop tires crazy, like driving in like certain locations. And it's like, bro. And then like schools, once again, I don't know what schools y'all go to. But ones I went to, niggas always talking about, oh, we don't have utensils for this. We don't have like, bro, I'm lucky that low-key Adam Selling went to some of our schools. So that nigga be like giving big ass money. Like a couple like, you know what I'm saying, successful people be like donating. That's the only reason why we have shit. Nothing came from taxes, but I feel like, isn't it supposed to come from taxes? I don't know how taxes work. As I said once again, this ain't my field of expertise. I'm just a guy talking.
So that is my
talking,
sort of like,
trolling, giving his
I don't trust the US
life experiences, you know, man.
The money in the same benevolent way that I might if I had more of it to then do what the programs and the passions that I have to help people.
And the reason that we don't trust the U.S. government, because I don't trust it either, is because of who controls the government. And who controls the government are capitalists. So it goes back to capitalism. It would be great for our money to be used to fund schools and all these programs, wonderful. But they're not. You're right. They're going to the weapons industry instead.
I think another thing, like a misconception a lot of people have, is like the rich don't pay taxes at all. If you look at corporate like payroll tax, like that's like the taxes that we pay. By far in America, corporations pay the most taxes in payroll. Like,
I don't give a shit what this nigga says. He 100% takes advantage of tax loopholes. I know he sat here talking about rich people should pay more. He definitely, no way you're Indian and you just like don't care about. You know what I'm saying? You know, my fault. That was racist. My fault.
That is like what, like for example, but it is coming from other people's checks. But we factor that into their salary, right? We know that we're gonna have to pay taxes on that. That's one thing to think about. I do think that the system is set up for the rich to just make way more money, especially with the unrealized gains, like leveraging that.
We like to say like we want everyone to pay the same percent, same stuff like that. But it's not like rich people, massive business owners use less government services. They are using these roads way more. They are using all these things so much more than the average person who just needs to drive to work. If you need 1 million trucks going places, like it wouldn't be unfair for these people to pay more because they use more, because they're bigger entities.
I think sometimes people are mad and they're angry about wealth inequality and they think that like taxing people will solve wealth inequality. And like, I think it might solve it on like a numbers basis, but I just don't know that that's the right thing.
Okay, so the money that the government doesn't receive by taxing billionaires and multinational corporations, they have to come up with the money still. So what do? They borrow it. They borrow it from corporations when they could have just taxed them. And when you borrow from billionaires and these large corporations, you then have to pay them interest. The government has to pay all this interest on the money that they should have just taxed them in the first place. So
I don't know
that's why
how
you have
true that is,
30
but if that is
trillion.
true,
I mean,
he's
the national
spitting.
debt
He's
is a
spitting,
scam
I'm not
in
gonna lie.
itself. The fact that people bring that up as a talking point is ludicrous.
Hey, before we go any further, we
Are
want to take
you
a moment to say
like,
thanks so
what?
much to Straight Air
I'd rather pay taxes than watch ads.
and for
I tell you.
partnering with us on this episode. Now,
I hope the government,
Into it.
didn't hear that part because I'm knowing they take advantage. You'd rather what than what? Oh my god! Not just, I was trolling.
Men
I was
should be
trolling.
the breadwinner of the family. Can they?
Okay, this is something I definitely can have an opinion on. Men should be the breadwinner of the family. No, I'm completely against this whole opinion of this is a masculine and this is a feminine. Men do this, women do that. Because I'm like, certain roles are just roles that we're assigning to these things that actually don't need to be assigned to these gender roles. You know what I'm saying? For example, men should be providers, men should be protected, like all these things, bro. Like a woman can have a gun. A woman should be able to protect herself. And saying men should be protected and shit like that is going under the assumption that all men are like, testosterone, strong. You know what I'm saying? Some men's strength comes in their intellect, other men's strength comes in their pockets, other men's strength comes in just their character and the way they inspire and aspire people, and you know what I'm saying, like just the impact they have on another. So to say men should be breadwinners or something like that is to really like limit what a man really can be and limit what a woman can truly be. A woman could be a breadwinner. A woman could be so much more than that. A man could be so much more than that. So like trying to like dumb it down to this specific thing, I'm just not a fan of that.
The agreeers, please step forward.
Hey, no one agreed. The Indian guy,
I grew
of
up
course he
in
does.
a pretty
Of
traditional
course
Muslim
he
household,
does.
and it's like very common for like the man to.
Why'd he take
be the
so
breadwinner,
long?
and, like, that's
Stand
the
on
tradition
business.
I
Can you
grew
be
up
a
to.
man?
I have very strong beliefs in that. I do think that there are abstractions, like there are times where women are the breadwinners and vice versa, but I don't think that it should, like for me, like the way that I've grown up, the way that my family's grown up for many years, many generations, it's been a tradition that like the man is very responsible for taking care of his family and the financials of kind of this unit. And I don't plan on changing that, so it's something I just believe in.
No one's telling
but
the
that
man
doesn't
to
mean
not take
there's
care of
room
his
for
family.
abstractions. People can switch it up, but yeah, that's what I believe.
Can the disagreeers please step forward?
I feel like he just walked up to be different. I know he did, bro. That nigga took so
The reason
long.
why
He was
I
not willing
disagreed
to
is
stand on
because
that.
I think you should just do whatever works for your relationship.
Wait, hold on.
The reason why I
Bro
disagreed
got
is
that
because
shit
I think
on.
you should
I'm not
just
gonna
do
lie.
whatever
You
works
got
for
that
your
shit on.
relationship.
Is that like a-
In my relationship personally, yes, I'm the one who does the providing and the protecting, and that works great for us. But that doesn't mean it works well for everybody else. And I mean, if you're dating a boss lady who works in tech and she makes like 500 grand a year, like you don't need to stretch yourself out if you're like, you work in a factory making 36K.
So I agree with you 100%. I think you should do whatever works best for y'all relationship.
Nah,
but I
yo,
noticed now,
that nigga got
modern
that
dating,
shit on.
a lot of women have this
Asher?
expectation on, the man should be doing this, and that. And I
That's
don't
not all
necessarily
women. That's
like
just the way
that
you
because
see on
these
media, bro. Lock in,
expectations
Gango.
put you in a weird position, especially if you feel like you're not really receiving much in return.
In my current relationship, I was so upfront with my partner. I said, I'm going to be a teacher. I'm not going to be able to be the sole provider. I want to be
And
a high school
W-man,
teacher, maybe
see
a college
that?
teacher.
Aspiring, inspiring.
That's my passion. That's what I want to do. That's how I want to give back to the
Yup.
world. And she said, I love that about you.
I
This is
love
one of my
that.
favorite things about you. And we're going to make that work. I'm going to work. She's going to work. And we got to get through it somehow. It's really hard to survive in this capitalist society right now. With having just one provider. I mean, I think everyone on this side of the room probably can if you're the rich man, but a lot of us, we need two incomes. It's just not possible.
You need to tell your wife to start that OnlyFans. You know, hey, throw that hair back for the family.
For the man to be the sole provider, breadwinner.
The reason that I put the expectation on myself is because like I also expect other expectations of my wife, right? Like I'm not going to marry a woman that's not going to be able to take care of my children, right? Like I think that's one expectation that I have. And once again, this is not an arbitrary thing where it's like it has to be this way or that way. It's just what I believe.
I think we all have our expectations in relationships, and as long as we
Saying you
communicate
agree
those
to
with
this
a partner
question
and are super
makes
upfront
it
with that, there's no
abstract.
problem.
I only disagree with the characterization of the premise that men should be the breadwinner, as if we should be conforming to traditional gender roles in this society.
Shit.
I think there's a term that I learned maybe last year is financial compatibility, and I think that's one thing that is really important in a relationship, because if you're making a lot of money.
Wait, how to say that?
It's really important in a relationship, because if you're making a lot of money and your partner isn't really, and because I personally think that a relationship, both people should work, both people should be just contributing. But if someone's making a lot more than the other one, then it will always feel just incompatible, because it'll always cause the other person to feel, like I'm paying more, I'm contributing more, I'm working more.
I was gonna say, I think there's a bit of nuance there. I'm in a polyamorous relationship where I make significantly more than my partners. One of them is RBT, so they work, minimum wage.
Polyamorous? That means multiple bitches.
With kids with disabilities, and so it's a very hard
big flex.
life for them. And we've been together for over 3 years now.
Nah, but bro got that shit on.
I'm
not gonna take that from him.
Putting myself and my
bro
income above them, or using that as hey, I'm going to lead the household and I'm going to make the decisions on my own because I'm the primary.
The way the colors complement each other,
revenue into
that
the household.
black versus this black.
It definitely comes
and
down
then
to
white.
the relationship itself,
and even that
because they knew me when I was working for minimum
even
wage
the
jobs.
blonde aspect
so
in the
because
set,
of that,
all these
just
colors,
because
like,
I'm in a place now. Tomorrow I could have nothing. I know that the love would still be there and a relationship would still be strong. So while there can be definitely situations where an income, inequality would impact a relationship, I think it speaks more so to the depth and the strength of the relationship itself, rather than the inequality being the main driver for any sort of issues in that relationship.
Have you never felt that it's just kind of unfair that you're putting so much in?
He has an amazing voice. This guy right here?
No, not at all.
No.
Fair that you're putting so much in, and the other, I'm just generally.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Oh my God,
relationships where I was the one who was working at Chick-fil-A making $9.25 an hour.
Podcast.
And I was my girlfriend had a $60,000 job in DC, and I was like, oh my God, thank you so much for taking me out to dinner or something. And so that mentality of, that reciprocity of if I'm going to be there for you emotionally, you're helping me with my finances, we're in this together as a partnership. That's what's really carried those relationships through. And I've never, again, I know that everything could disappear tomorrow. So there's no feeling of, well, I'm doing all this, why are you not putting in as much effort? They're working super hard. And so just because they didn't have the same connections or opportunities that I had means nothing to the fact that they're worth less or something to me.
To piggyback off that too, for me in my relationships, I've always made more, and it didn't really tend to bother me. I think people are driven by passion, and not all careers pay the same. But if the person I'm with is really passionate about what they're doing, I admire that.
That speaks a lot to me, because ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to be so rich and successful to where my wife didn't have to work if she didn't want to. My kids could do whatever the hell they wanted to do. And so I kind of did that with my ex when I was thriving. We didn't have kids. I got an episode for that. You know what I mean, right? But nah, we didn't have kids. But it was just the fact that my ex didn't have to work, and I helped put her in that position. So that made me feel good. I think a lot of people in relationships, there's an ego thing with it. So if the man ain't making enough money, he feels less than a man, and then he treats his girl a different way, and then that creates problems. Or his girl don't respect him or treats him a different way, and then that creates problems. I think as long as you're doing what works for your relationship, oh boy, said right here, right? I think that's what matters most.
It's a cultural issue.
It's also an antiquated approach, right? What is the term, trad wife or something?
Traditional.
Yeah,
well, traditional.
Yeah.
Which I don't even care for. I don't. I've been in 5 different committed relationships, but my whole thing is, I don't expect my girl to cook for me. I don't expect her to clean for me. I don't expect you to do nothing for me. So be yourself. And as long as we good, we good.
Tell you shit. I think what you're touching on is that,
and what you've touched on as well, is there's all these different ways that relationships can work, and I think they can work in every way. I want a different relationship than what you want. But both can absolutely work, and there are pitfalls for both too, and you just have to avoid those pitfalls, of course, yeah.
I'm married, I have 2 kids, and I would say have more of a traditional relationship, and I love it, and it's wonderful, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. But I know that what works for me doesn't necessarily work for everybody in this room.
I don't know about you guys too, but so in the relationships I've been in, I have made more than my partner, but if they did make more than me, I would be stoked.
Yeah.
That sounds incredible. Right, who would get mad about that?
I will put on the maid dress and I will mop the floor.
Yeah, dude, yeah.
I'll be the coolest house husband ever.
Yeah, it is an ego thing.
Walking home with a little glass of wine, I'll be sitting there can I get you anything, honey? Would you like me to take your shoes off, give you a little massage, whatever you need?
I kind of love spoiling my wife. and my kids.
Tight
I mean,
shit.
partly because I grew up, I mean, my mom was making $10 an hour raising 3 kids. So the fact that now I'm in a position where I can, you know, spoil the people that I'm with.
You love to hear the
doing
come
that.
I know I'm not going to be able to spoil her with like a million diamond rings and stuff like that, but I can
Type
spoil
shit.
her in other ways. I can make dinner for us. I can plan things for us.
There's balance,
W-man,
so someone
W-man,
can be
W-man,
supporting
W-man.
financially, but someone else is supporting emotionally.
His
And
voice
I think
is so
as long as you're
amazing.
aware
What?
of that balance, that could be like a secret to a healthy relationship. But if that balance kind of fades out in the dark, then that's when, you know.
Yeah, in my tradition, we have a very strong belief that like marriage is like a fortress. It's like, as you're one pillar of it, your wife is another. And in America, we have this conception of like love marriages. You marry people you love. In Islam, we have a much more like deeper sense of that, in the sense of like it's not just love. It's family ties. Like your family and their family are now one unit.
Families are getting married
And so
too,
you have like
John.
multiple pillars, and then you have like, if you're religious, right, you have like this ethical and moral compass that aligns with the other, and that's another compass. And then like, can you benefit each other in knowledge as well? So there's many other pillars. So if one breaks, there's another to stand on.
Becoming rich is easier now than it ever has been.
I'm curious. What are they gonna say? I think the answer, honestly, the answer to this is definitely yes. Like, look at what I'm doing, bro. I'm recording myself watch a video. Like, no, it's definitely easier now. I think a lot of people would say it's not just because the fact that it's oversaturated. Everyone sees this easier, so everyone's jumping on it. But like that don't take, like me eating does not stop you from eating. Like we all easily can win. Even if, oh my God.
Grew
no,
up
it's so much
pretty much at
easier
the
now.
poverty line, so the opportunities that my mom had were so limited to compared to what the opportunities that I have today. And you know, I was able to, I mean, frankly, make millions and millions of dollars in my 20s because of all the opportunities that we have here in the West and in in America, and especially in modern times, where if you just zoom out, a lot of those opportunities weren't available. You know, even just like 50 years ago, it would be different.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, I think not only is there opportunity, but the internet has just enabled us to learn anything we want.
I think the fact that you can just be making money off of your laptop just anywhere in the world is revolutionary.
I think there's been a bit of an explosion of non-ethical ways to make money. I feel
Whoa,
like
bro, literally only makes 10K. God damn. Wow. Oh my. This is not funny. He makes way more than me.
that's been a big thing in recent times. Making money off the backs of others has become easier than it ever has been, I think. Like, you can just start a podcast and just like on women the whole time and you'll just like blow up and go crazy.
Type shit.
I think like in late stage capitalism, there are so many exploits and things you can do, and I'm not saying you guys have done that specifically, I don't know your stories, but like you can be a landlord and just start charging exorbitant amounts of rent. That's why it's so unaffordable to live, especially here in California. Like there are so many evil ways that people can make money that I think it's easier now than it ever has been if you have sort of sketchy morals.
Is a landlord always an evil way to make money to you?
Honestly, not always, but I would love to see society move away from this, from housing being a form of investment.
So I am a real estate developer, and
Chad, you know how I know I'm cooked? I know this is off topic, but that guy talking about like landlords charging extra money, like an unreasonable amount. In my head, the only thing I'm thinking, bro, if I was a landlord and someone couldn't pay me, that's free pussy. Like, oh, I'm cooked, Chad. I'm not gonna lie, I'm cooked.
just bought a piece of land to build a house. The piece of land just for the dirt, $735,000. Just the permitting, just like literally the fee that I had to pay to get the right to build on that property that I own, 110 grand. It's challenging to offer affordable housing when you're already $800,000 deep and you haven't even put shovel to dirt.
I don't put as much blame on the individual as I do on the systems. I really wish.
I would love to back you up on that. So I actually have a pretty strong thesis on this. So like I bought property and stuff before, and I've realized like the system just favors the rich. And the reason for that is because of interest. Like from this, once again, I tie this back to religion often, but like in Islam, it's like You're not allowed to mess with interest. And the reason for that is because it favors the rich in a way where it pulls away from economic gain from society. And it's like, hey, because I have $100,000, I can pull $1 million of leverage. Well, if you only have 10,000, you can only pull 100,000. And now what's happening today is like these companies like BlackRock and these big institutional holdings, because they already have trillions of dollars, can leverage trillions of more to buy more houses, rising the prices, rising the interest rates for everyone, and you guys suffer the most.
And it incentivizes the most f***ed up practices.
Yes.
Like the more you can charge, the higher interest rates you can have, the more you can do, the more you can exploit, the more you can steal,
the more money you have,
the more you get.
The more money you'll make, and eventually you become the bank. That's what rich people have become, you know? And I really hope that I never kind of go down that path. So it's something that, even as us, like I think when you make money, like you'll see a lot of your friends kind of like, you can make a lot more money if you make money. And like you have to really control yourself. That's why I also believe that making a lot of money is actually a curse in a way too. Like there are pros, yes, you can have a lot of nice things.
We aren't ever entertaining this. I'm skipping that. I don't even want that negative, toxic shit he was about to say. Shut your ass up, bro. What?
It's hard not to sometimes, but I do my best not to ever put the blame on the individual because.
Let me find out. I'm so tired of like rich people being like, bro, like money don't make you happy. Like, yo, let me find out myself, nigga.
Because any individual is not going to be able to change that system that encourages this stuff.
When people learn like to utilize credit in America, I don't know if they even have credit in other countries or if it's similar to America.
They do, but America is by far the biggest credit lender in the world.
So there, right? Back in 2019, like nobody ever taught me like how to go about building credit properly, right? But in 2019, I had friends who was doing drop shipping automation, like Amazon automation, right? So I had a friend, they was all running stores. So she was charging $8,000 to get into this thing, but I didn't have $8,000 at the time. So I started researching credit. I asked questions from all my little rich friends on Facebook. I went on YouTube. So I did research, I went a different route. I got 3 unsecured credit cards for $1,500. I learned about authorized users. But then I think it was within 3 or 6 months, I was able to get $32,000. And then like a year and a half later, I got over $100,000. That was from having zero credit. So the thing is, if people actually research credit and learn how to build it properly, it's easy to get money. And the cool thing about credit is, if you invest and you fuck up, you could just let it go to collections and dispute it all up anyway.
Yeah, but you shouldn't think like that.
No, hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Shut your ass up, right? You don't want to talk about being rich in the curse. Let him give away the sauce.
Go about it the right way. Be responsible. Pay your credit, because don't fuck up intentionally.
But if you fuck up, there's something to fall.
You know what you're doing.
It's so sorry. Just to cut you. It's so easy to get the money that people will dig themselves in the hole because they see money.
Well, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, there's a difference between good debt and bad debt.
Of course.
So I was using my debt for investments. I wasn't just buying like
credit cards though.
I was using the credit cards and then loans.
See, dude, that's
rough, dude.
I agree with you.
Interest?
I agree. But
what are you investing in that makes sense?
Well, that's the thing. So I was okay. So like for example, I'm like Amazon drop shipping, right? I was making money on cashback. So the thing was, I was making money and I was paying my bill every single month. So I wasn't just buying like Beats by Dre or dumb
But where
shit.
did it go wrong? Because I mean, with respect, you're on the other side now.
I wasn't like up with my debt. I was paying my bill every single month. I've been day trading since 2014. I wasn't like broke. Even like last year, I had my biggest trading day. I made $161,000 in 3 hours. But the thing was, I was making money. I had passive income, and I trusted some of my rich friends, right, into a bad investment that they ended up rug pulling everybody. And I currently have a lawsuit trying to get my money back.
They's not
that's
even
why
your
I ended up
homies,
over
bro.
here.
What?
I always wanted to be on that rich side for this episode. You know what I mean, right?
I feel like your story kind of epitomizes like my worldview on this question, is that it's easier to make money now because there's so many ways of passive income. And that's kind of what I don't like about it, is passive income doesn't really benefit.
Does that nigga just hate money? Like, no, I get the first couple times that, oh, like, this, that. But now it's every chance he, look, even this nigga's face is like, really, nigga? Like, you just, like, bro, what?
Society. You're making money off the work of others instead of off your own work, so you're not really helping anyone except yourself.
I'm marketing too much. I'm doing way too much right now. I'm not gonna do way too much.
We're talking about a societal trend, and you can't disprove that thesis or that premise by citing your own personal story. You have to look at actual data. And when you say it's easier to get rich now than it ever has been, who's getting rich? And if you look at the data, it's the top 1% of the population. And I just thought,
why are we nodding and agreeing with this
would help
nigga?
My point. which is to say that, you know, the largest...
Okay, wait. The real question is, what do they even define as rich? Because I hear what he's saying, and I hear stats and all, but, like, stats are pretty useless when context is missing. So, like, the fuck is he talking about? Because I feel like it's so... Never mind, let me hear him.
Increase in the poverty rate from one year to the next happened in 2021 to 2022. The majority of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. It's a very precarious life for most of us. We live in a world where 3 Americans own more wealth.
Precarious means not secure. You know what I'm saying? So, like, tight shit, not tightly held.
Than 150 million other Americans, the bottom half of the American population. Another statistic is 8 people in the entire world own all of the wealth, own more wealth and power than 90% of the bottom half of the population. I'm sorry, 50% of the bottom half of the population. That's from Oxfam, and that is 4 billion people. So 8, and this is in 2017, mind you. This is 8 people in the world own more wealth than 4 billion people. And,
damn.
You know, I just think we live in a predatory political economy, and yeah, sure.
So I got a 2-part question for you, right?
Sure.
First part, do you believe in anybody in this half moon shaped circle is better than you?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so if we have personal experiences that we made different kinds of money, do you feel like that could potentially happen for you as well if you apply yourself properly?
I think that it's not about an individual answer to a systemic question. We're talking about institutions, okay? I'm sorry, you know, think about, you know, you're talking about the housing industry, the real estate, you know, how expensive it is. And, well, the reason for that is because the housing industry has been monopolized by pretty much one corporation, Blackstone, which bought up all the housing, all the private property, and raised all the rents. And so you have to compete with that now. And so, yeah, that's why there is no affordable housing anymore. The homelessness has never been higher. You know?
I want to say I agree with your worldview, like, completely. The reason I step forward for this question is those systems you laid out make it easier for individuals to rise. We cannot all, it's not easier for everyone.
So you just agree with everyone. What is your... Bro, what are you doing in this video?
Rich individuals that have already benefited from generational wealth, from every advantage that
I think there are a lot of like scammy ways that
absolutely, and I'm not saying you know if you got into
look at the eye contact. No, he's locked in. Like he's so happy. But this where was he before this nigga sat down? Giving that other nigga eye contact.
That
absolutely, and I'm not saying you know if you got into
there
Bitcoin,
are a lot of like honest ways.
If you had gotten into Bitcoin in 2014, yeah, there's a lot
of teenagers that have become millionaires,
but that's like that's such a small sliver, and it doesn't disprove the entire thesis.
And he's not giving
when I
any.
Hear that question,
that guy's a bitch.
The hardest thing I have for me is I understand not everybody can get rich, but I truly do believe in America. Everybody has the opportunity to be rich. Now you may have come from a different background where it's harder to come up, you know what I mean?
Well, but of the 2 people in question, you have had a harder time, no doubt.
Wait, because my past though.
He got his head down like that. I was really trying to get intimate with that guy. Like, ain't no way he said that. Like, yeah, he makes $10K a year. What are you talking about? Because he's black?
So why not, right?
It's because of your race. It's because of the color of your skin. That is because racism is a systemic problem.
Not all black people are ghetto, bro.
It's a problem because at the end of the day, though, I still educated myself. I applied myself. And yes, I looked before I got scammed last year. You know what I mean? So
I'm not gonna lie. Now he's tripping. Skin color is definitely a factor in a sense of like we don't start off in the best positions. But this isn't to say white people start off in the best positions. Nigga, them niggas get, you know what I'm saying? Yes, we got worse. But in this instance of this black nigga that's like, just like cheerio, you know what I'm saying? Like happy go guy. I feel like that the white teacher nigga probably had a harder life than this nigga did.
As a black person who's at a disadvantage, and let's just say that it really is a disadvantage. that never held me back from doing all the shit.
I'm
that I
not
wanted
saying
to
that
do.
you don't have your own personal, optimism for,
Tight shit.
bootstrapping yourself. I'm saying you're
Tight
facing
shit.
institutions that are designed to undermine your livelihood, and that is because of the color of your skin.
I would have to
And I
disagree about
acknowledge
today. I
No
would
cap,
say
100%.
historically in America, certainly. I would say in 2024, 2025, whenever this is coming out. I mean, again, we're all here. We're talking.
Yeah.
I've been able to make $2 million a year since I was like 28. There's really nothing
this
special
nigga
about
black?
me.
Yo,
I can spot
wait,
opportunity.
why did I not
think
notice?
that if
I thought he
what
was
you're
like
saying is
Mexican
true, and
this
I
whole
was
time.
subject to all. Yeah, like I've never felt that the
I
color
can
of my
find
skin
you
is a
millions of
barrier.
other people that do
Well, I'm
not
sure.
share that.
Yeah, I'm
personal
sure, but-
anecdote,
but what I'm-
and that's the point of the thesis.
But
That's the point of the
it's
premise.
all about belief at the end of the day. Go
And
ahead.
also,
Ramon.
I don't think
remember
so. I
the
think it's the
prompt
material
was it's
conditions.
easier today to get rich than it ever has been. There was a point where someone who looked like me wasn't even allowed to buy a house. That's not true today. So for me, getting out of that circumstances, building wealth, same thing.
Just
even
because
women
now
were allowed
you
to have a
can
bank
buy
account
a
in their
house
name till
does
like
not mean
70s.
it's
in some
possible.
states. That now
You know
they
what I'm
can,
saying?
right? And
I
so
think
I
that
think it's easier today.
I guess for him, what is your kind of dream state then? Like if it's not today, what period in history is
I
the
believe
easiest?
that we live in a class-based society.
Period.
There are workers and there are owners, and we are defined by what we do for a living.
Tight.
And if you work for a living, you're in the working class. And if you accrue capital and
He's so
passive
locked
income,
in,
like you all were
bro.
saying,
He's
by
so
the hard
locked
work of
in.
others, then you are a capitalist. If you own the means of production by which workers work those means of production, you are exploiting them. And that's the only way that billionaires are allowed to propagate their wealth.
Let me ask you this. Would you consider anyone with a 401k exploiting people?
No.
Because they hold
For-
stocks
for-
that are ownership of a business.
Yeah, that's also an instrument of class war. For
The 401k is an instrument of class war.
yeah, that's the idea that I mean, look at what BlackRock does. I mean, they're gutting workers' pensions. They're gutting.
You know how I feel bad for, bro? They're not really hearing this nigga. Like, they're hearing him, but like, they're like, come on, can you be realistic? A 401k? But no, he's saying, I think his problem is with money, period. Like he's saying it's about class because, like, you know what I'm saying, there's systems already set in place for it, you know what I'm saying, there to be a divide. But he's saying if money wasn't there to begin with, there wouldn't be no divide. I feel like that is the point he's trying to get at, that they're not listening to, but I could be completely misinterpreting.
Your retirement funds. It's not the people that have a 401k. It's the people that are doling out these 401k plans. They are the ones that are taking away from the workers.
So the reason why I disagreed with the prompt was primarily based on something outside of finances, which was time. And so a lot of things that I heard was,
hold up.
oh, everyone has access to a laptop, everyone has access to a phone. It's easier than ever with online sources like drop shipping or crypto or things to get rich in today's society. But with the shrinking middle class, more and more people working paycheck to paycheck, not as many people have the time in the day to utilize those resources or even learn how to use them. For example, like I grew up with a military background. Like my parents were both military. I grew up working for like Chick-fil-A and as a paintball referee. So I was working a lot of minimum wage jobs.
My pleasure.
But my parents, who were, upper middle class, gave me the opportunity to learn how to use a computer in my downtime or take a couple months off from working to be able to learn how to do social media, which is what I do now. And now I have the opportunity to make millions. And so it'd be easier for me to sit here and say, wow, it's easier than ever to make money in today's society. But if you even look outside of America as a country and at the global economy as a whole, there are so many millions and millions and millions of people who are sitting here going, what do you mean it's easier than ever to make money? I'm watching the upper 1% get richer and richer, and I'm still here struggling to pay rent and make food every day. And so that's why I was like, I don't think it's easier. Like, sure, there are opportunities and a lot of more people have the opportunity, but overall, there's a lot of inequality there that makes it more difficult than ever.
The largest transfer of wealth ever in human history has
But it
occurred in the
wasn't
past
ever
40
about
years. $50
easy or
trillion
hard.
has been basically robbed from the working class, the bottom 90% of Americans, to the top 1%. And that's another example of the disparity, the inequality, economic
Whose fault
inequality.
do you think that is?
It's the fault of the people that are in charge, obviously, the people that control the economy and subsequently control the government. It's the capitalists, it's the 1%. That is their function in society, to be parasites upon the majority of the population.
There's one thing I have to just disagree on.
Sure.
As far as wealth inequality goes, there's no question. Today, it's more exacerbated than at any other time.
Yes.
There's people that have hundreds of billions of dollars, and there's people that have nothing.
Right.
So that is absolutely true. I think when I sort of zoom out and I look at the history of the world, and
My laptop was about to die, so I like put that bitch in charge and shit. If the video starts lagging from here on, my fault. I have to do a whole lot, switch ring lights, all this, yeah.
And the fact that we all have electricity and running water and, you know, like heat in our house, if we're lucky enough to have that, I just think I can't look at a time in history where there was a better time to be alive. I mean, like, yeah, times are hard now for sure. And I don't want to sound condescending as someone on this side of it saying that life is easy, because I know that life can be hard and it was difficult for me growing up. But there was a time in history where you get your hand chopped off for like stealing an onion. like that doesn't happen anymore. Like, at least not in America.
I think both can be true. I think, you know, the base standard of living can be higher than it ever has been, while also it being harder than ever to escape from the place that you were born into and the kind of like economy that you are a part of.
I don't think it's like you have to pick either or. I think it's easy to be poor and it's easy to be rich. Like, it's like kind of like this.
That's what I agree
That's
with,
like
100%.
the thought. And sorry,
if it was easy to be rich, then everybody would be rich. You know, if everybody could be a
that's the thing, but,
billionaire,
like,
then there would be no billionaires.
If it's easy to get a six-pack, which it is, it's just consistency. Why doesn't everyone have a six-pack? I don't have a six-pack. You know.
Here's the thing too. Like, his analogies about a six-pack is
Niggas
there are
don't
people
need
who
a
genetically
six-pack.
do not
Bro,
have the
why is
ability
his
to have a
voice so
six-pack, and that's how I see it. There are people who
What?
just do not have the opportunity, do not have the resources to just be able to just make
No,
money.
I
he
think
needs to
not
talk
everyone statistically
every
can become
time.
successful. You have to believe it though. Like, if you're ever going to become successful, you have to believe it. But not everyone's going to, like, even like the six-pack analogy, right? You have to actually believe that you can get a six-pack, even though you can't.
I think that's the part that I
Even though
really
you
agree
can't-
with, which is why I stepped
can't
forward.
is
I feel incredibly
crazy.
lucky to be in the West, to be specifically in America, to be in modern times. We
Even though
have
you
so much
can't is
opportunity in America. I'm not
crazy.
saying that it's not complicated or challenging or that times aren't tough. I'm just lucky to be here, and that, like, this is, again, just zoom out in the West, in America. It's such an incredible time to be alive.
This is such a fallacy because, like, yes, of course, the United States is the greatest, most wealthy country in the world because we've robbed the entire world.
100%. Yeah, I'm not disputing that at all.
Yeah, no, I'm saying you're not. I'm just saying you're accurately saying we have the best opportunity in the world, and I'm just saying those are ill-gotten gains.
There's no such thing as an ethical billionaire.
I imagine there is. Oh, you're gonna follow him every time now. No, wait. You are gonna follow that man to the end of the earth?
You cannot become a
What?
billionaire without exploiting people in the process.
He's about to cheat on his
It's
wife.
impossible to work hard enough to be a billionaire. You will have to extract the surplus labor value from
Are they gonna
other
go back and
people.
forth,
It's
like,
just-
agreeing?
It's not possible to do that at all. Like, I think the closest, we have a weird almost exception, but not really exception. And
To say, I don't mean like, this question, to say it in itself is like, it's so stupid because it's kind of one of those like, I can't even call this opinion based. This is just like, bro, human nature. There are good people and bad people. Of course, even when it comes to being a billionaire, there are good ones and bad ones. Like, I'm genuinely curious. what he's gonna say.
in modern society with celebrities, where people actually like just prop them up and do that, and they're not necessarily exploiting others themselves. And so that's like the only thing I think where it could be
Do
questionable.
you have an example, like a specific example of someone that's a billionaire?
No,
that might be...
that's
Okay.
my thing, is that they don't reach billionaire status, because
Right.
billionaire is so insanely high.
Right.
I think you could be like 100 millionaire ethically, maybe through that specific mean, but billionaire is so astronomically high, it's impossible to get there without exploiting others. I look at someone like Taylor Swift, who I'm a huge fan of, love her, but her capitalist business practices are insane.
Yeah.
We're charging like $40 for little things, and we're exploiting people in all these other ways to like make these things for so cheap.
I have a new question now. What are we defining as ethical? So is it just, what I'm asking is, does the means not justify the ends, or does the ends justify the means? Because if you're a billionaire but like now you're like giving back, is that fine? Because he's right. He might be right. The only way to get your billions now would be to do like heinous shit. So doing all these villainous activities to get there and then being a good person, does that change your status or no? I haven't seen it. To anyone who does think yes, then that means Madara is a villain to you. Pain is a villain to you. Who else? Stain from My Hero is a villain to you. This is an anime channel, by the way. So like, for anyone watching, wondering why I'm like naming anime characters, like yeah, Eren Yeager. I know I haven't finished the thing on time. I should watch Eren vs. Reiner. That is the next episode.
And do this and
Yeah, you become a billionaire by investing, you know, and you don't. It's not through hard work. Nobody becomes a billionaire through hard work. You get it through exploiting people. You know what the difference between $1 billion and $1 million is? It's about $1 billion. Yeah. I mean, nobody really understands how much wealth is $1 billion, and to think that there are people in the world that have hundreds of $1 billion and they're on their way to becoming trillionaires. The disparity has never been greater, and I don't believe that there's any way you can acquire $1 billion and without being unethical, and I've yet to hear a strong argument in the opposition.
Oh, you're in the right place. There's like, how many? 4 millionaires?
If you're putting people in a position to where they can, I guess, provide for the life that they want and the people they care about, so they can accomplish their goals through the opportunity you provide for them, and you're able to accomplish your goal at the same time, why is that a bad thing?
Well, when I use exploitation, I use it in a Marxist sense, where it's just the extraction. Like, you are exploiting their labor in the sense that their labor is worth a certain amount. You're not paying them what that labor is worth. If they generate $30 an hour for you and you're paying them $20, that's exploitation if you are taking that $10 and putting it in your pocket.
But then how do you pay for the lights, like the cameras?
I think that surplus labor value, I think workers should have a say in how it's used. And that's my biggest problem, is that the workers don't have a say.
Is there a sense where we could maybe raise the minimum wage to a certain level to where it's not seen as exploitation?
The very concept of earning a wage is exploitative by design, because you could be, like he said.
Yeah, no, that nigga is just against the money.
As a worker.
No one's gonna convince me of two things here. This nigga hates money, and that nigga loves this nigga's dick. All right, both these guys just hate money. He earns $10K a year. Okay, and that's more than me right now, but that's because I'm not working. If I was working, I'm not accepting that low. No, I'm not gonna lie. And he just hates the concept of money. I need to read how much he gets. Like, when next time his card shows, I'm on it. I'm locked in.
You're capped.
What if you get stock in the company? So it's pretty common in the tech place to get restricted stock.
How does a company raise the shareholder price of their company? How do they do that?
Make more revenue.
Right?
Usually there's traditional financial metrics like revenue, but in general it's more people are buying
revenue.
By selling
goods and services.
How do they make goods?
Using human labor.
There you go.
I never saw that my life was worse off if the guy who started a restaurant paid me a wage to work in the restaurant and he made more than me. It never bothered me. If the owner of the restaurant was like, yeah.
There were slaves in the 1830s that didn't think they were being exploited as well.
But except it was my choice. But also, it was my choice to go get that job and earn a wage.
Yes,
if I didn't want it, I could quit.
But no, also the person paying you to do that was not a billionaire. A billionaire takes that to the most extreme level where it wouldn't be.
You know what? I love this duo. All right. I love this duo. This duo is the whole LeBron D Wade. This duo, Naruto and Sasuke. This duo right here is unmatched. I'm not gonna lie. I like this duo.
Taking $1 here of surplus labor value and doing this with it. It's extreme greed, extreme wealth hogging to get to that level.
So I personally know many billionaires. One of my closest mentors,
is your name
used to sit 2 desks away from
Arab?
me. His company IPO'd. Currently, it's valued more than Lockheed Martin, Nike. It's called AppLovin. It's worth like $158 billion, right? This is the most kind, genuine person you'll ever meet. Ever since he's made money, so he like has a crazy story. He started working when he was 14, 15. Made a ton of money, and it was the same thing. Like my story is very similar, where it's like I started working at 15, I was paid $8K a month, and I actually
Damn.
Not just because of the money. I knew I was making someone way more money.
Hey, Kale,
I
could learn what you doing?
Like, learn how to get into that position. So the system never bothered me in that sense because I was like, I can be that system. I can beat that system.
If there's no such thing as an ethical billionaire, where is that limit? Can you be an ethical millionaire? Can you be an ethical 100 millionaire? Like, where is the point at which suddenly I'm now unethical?
That's a great question. I couldn't give you a number. I think $1 billion is way past it, though. I don't think it's anywhere near $1 billion. I can't give you a number, and I don't think every millionaire is an evil person. 10 millionaires an evil person.
I have a friend who's a solo founder. So he's in the in the tech space, and he on freak accident got really into AI super early, like years ago, right? And him by himself, he's sitting with his computer, he's like in his 20s, and he codes some shit, and he creates a company, and now it's suddenly IPOs, and it's worth $1 billion. He didn't do anything. He didn't go out and say, you know what, I'm going to make this $1 billion, and I'm going to fuck over everybody in the process. He's doing something that he loves, and now suddenly the world says, and the stock market specifically says, your thing is now worth $1 billion. Now it is suddenly my friend now is an unethical person, and he has to hang himself. Like, what does he have to give away his money? Like, he's evil. Like, where's that point?
You don't gotta kill yourself. Just embrace your
You're a white man.
The dual shaking. They don't play. No, they're rolling. Oh my God, this dude's nasty. No, they're nasty. Wait, sit next to him. What are you doing?
There are people that aren't white that make a lot of money, but I think
he's tired of it. No. He's tired of it. He's like, bro, what did Drake say? Imitation isn't flattery. It's just annoying me. This nigga. Oh my God. Yo, wait, are they gonna break up? I feel like next time he's gonna pump fake. Like, he's gonna walk, and when that nigga walks, he's gonna turn back. No matter what the question is, no matter what it is, he's definitely gonna pump fake and be like, yo, get off my.
Statistically, generally speaking, it is easier to make money if you are white. It's easier to be advantaged by these institutions that govern public life if you are a white person, specifically a white male. But, goes back to systemic racism. I mean, the institutions are, capitalism.
Can I say, I love white people like this.
Given way to,
right here,
like a byproduct of capitalism.
He's very educated on like all these things, all these different perspectives. He's educated on reality, and like he decides to side with like the minorities, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
in other words, is white supremacy.
Well, in his case, it's probably just classism that he's siding with, and minorities happen to be there.
We're in the United States of America. We've had, this country was founded upon slavery and the genocide of the Native Americans, the slavery of African Americans, and that was by white people.
Yeah, I think when you look at the statistics, you see certain demographics succeeding more than other demographics. And you can either look at that and say, oh, there's something inherent about those groups, which is just racism, or you can look at that and say, there must be some societal factors that lead other groups to excelling more than others.
And another point is there have been studies made on, the eligibility of people to acquire a bank loan, for instance. And statistically speaking, it's far easier to acquire a bank loan if you're a white person than a black person. And that's just one of the examples. We have it's easier to get a college education if you're white. It's easier to make money if you're educated. Most white people, have a clear, it's all about equity.
He joined.
I do want to make one thing clear about my worldview, though, is that...
I'm going to join you guys after. That's okay.
For sure.
Say shit.
I think on the left, the left of politics, sometimes it comes across very defeatist when we talk about this, and I never want to be like that. I don't want to say a person of color can't do this, can't do that, because that's also literally just racism, and people on the left do that a lot, sadly.
But the prompt
you can succeed, but it might be a little harder, and that difficulty can appear in a myriad of different ways. And I just think statistics show certain groups are more successful.
You know what's tough about this dick rider? He's very educated himself. So it's not just a matter of like the other nigga like sounds like he's spitting. He can actually make a valid argument for riding dick. Like, he literally can. And that's what's valid about this guy. I'm not gonna lie, that's so valid.
I think one thing, too, I wanted to add that brought me out here. I don't know that it's tremendously more difficult, but it's definitely more difficult, and I think stats show that. And a big thing to me is so much of personal wealth is your home, and there's a huge like racial net worth gap, and a lot of that is because of like access to property ownership, and that's a big thing that I think, you know, stored capital creates more capital.
Right. So, I mean, we come from a society that, you know, segregation was legal, you know, 50, 60 years ago. I mean, that's, you know, just a few generations ago. We're still feeling those reverberations, you know, and, you know, white people you know, want to protect their property, their wealth. Wasn't there the whole thing of white flight, you know, in like the 60s, or, you know, as soon as society was desegregated, white people basically said, we're going to take all our capital and move out to the suburbs, and we're going to defund public institutions. We don't have any responsibility to them. And, you know, I just think it's pretty fairly evident at this point that, you know, systemic racism is an issue, and, you know, to acquire wealth, it's far easier if you look the part.
Do you think that will change as time goes on, though? Because I think we are for sure trending the right direction, and that's why I hesitated to come out here. But then bringing up the points of like historical wealth and then wealth building off of historical wealth.
I think it's headed in the right direction for sure. I mean,
for sure.
I think anyone, I believe anyone can absolutely succeed in America. Some people will have a harder path than others, but I believe anyone can. Sadly, I don't think everyone can. I feel like that is contradicted by capitalism, but I do think anyone can succeed despite their circumstances.
Say shit. Let's hear the naysayers. Come on, I just want the next round to start. I need to know if this duo is coming back again.
I guess it goes up based off of personal experience. One thing that I personally hate is this whole victim mindset that a lot of folks in our community especially have. I hate that with a passion. Because like as a black dude, how I talk, how I present myself, some people in the comments gonna talk shit. I already know.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. You never stood a chance. I wouldn't be surprised if Dr. Umar watched this video right here and was like, brother, Jubliee, y'all got the wrong man on here. He's not educated on us. He's just living this happy life. No, I'm saying, like, I'm seeing it, he never stood a chance.
About unemployable and whatnot, right? But if you looked at my resume, it's crazy. Like, I've been a flight attendant, I've been a truck driver, I've been a perfume salesman, I've been a street performer on the Las Vegas Strip. I used to work background in porn. As a black dude who's done a whole bunch of shit,
we're not just gonna slide past that.
As a black dude who's done a whole bunch of shit, it's hard for me to think that I'm at a disadvantage when I've done more shit than the average person has.
I agree with you that everyone should have the mindset that they can succeed. I think that's something on the left that we don't communicate enough, is absolutely have the mindset that you can succeed, but that doesn't mean that these systems aren't in place.
And let's say the systems are in place, though, right? Because it was worse back in the day, but let's just say the systems currently are in place. I just think it's a belief factor. Like, if you believe, like, oh, I'm black, I can't do shit, you ain't gonna try.
The statistic.
You need to stop speaking for black people. I'm not gonna lie. Someone needs to just take that nigga's mic. Anytime black needs that, take that nigga's mic.
Tend to demotivate people, and then that causes lack of action. And it's like
the whole time, no one's demotivated that we're black. You know what I'm saying? No one's like, oh, it's harder for us. We're just saying it's harder for us. We're still gonna do it. Niggas are still gonna grind. You think mothers just have 2-3 jobs for no reason? Niggas are trying. Niggas are on the grind. They just, you know what I'm saying? It's just harder. Simply, so I don't like that he's trying.
Like a belief.
It's like, for example, like I look at everything as like, I only look at the advantages, you know? Like I try to cut out the disadvantages that I have. Maybe I don't even have
That's
any.
almost
like,
a good mindset, but not really.
What?
Because sometimes you could grow from like hearing disadvantage. It's like constructive criticism. Like, of course, you don't want to hear things are wrong, but like when someone tells you something's wrong, that's good. Because now it's like out of sight, out of mind. Now that you know what's a problem, you can fix it. Say shit.
Do I have, and how can I
but
use
it's not
and that actually promotes good action and good results.
That's on an individual basis, and I would agree with you. For sure, everyone should take what they got, make it better. We're talking about society as a whole, though.
I just think you should take that with a grain of salt, though, right? I think like it's like a lot of people don't take it with a grain of salt. Like I have friends that are like, you know, I'm gonna like figure it out one day, like, you know, like it is what it is, like, you know, you're rich, like you figured it out, like I can't do that. Like no. You know, like
nobody's saying we should be apathetic about our situation, but we can recognize the material
apathetic means emotionless, like show no emotion towards, you know what I'm saying? Apathy.
Conditions of our society and the institutions that,
Of course. But I
govern
think
public life.
the way you beat that is like you focus on what are the advantages that you have and how can I act on those advantages.
Keeping in mind the year that we're in, unless there's something I don't know about, maybe that's true, there's no legal system that says, you are prevented from this opportunity because of your race.
If anything, it's the opposite. We have the Civil Rights Act in 1964.
What? Are y'all not up with times? Did they not just get did they not just repeal the bill that said, now they could say no to you in a job if you're black, if you're disabled, if you're whatnot? That's all disadvantage off rip.
The fact that I see black people succeeding lets me know I can too, man. I might be at a disadvantage, but I'm gonna grind it out and do my damn.
But black people are succeeding as entertainers, as rappers, as not as businessmen. That's pretty rare. I mean, let me not say that. They are succeeding as businessmen, but there's a very small few. The majority of them are basically like. Let me not say that. I was gonna say something, and I'm like, no, that'd be racist. The majority of them are just entertainment.
I think so I can get there too.
It's just like I'm trying to think outside of the bounds of just like this conversation where we're taking place in America, like looking at society as a whole. Like, if I went overseas, like I'm going to be at a disadvantage to making money. Like we're not talking about being rich. The prompt was making money itself. And I think overall cultures, tend to prefer their own. Like, and that's just across the board. But I don't think that means that necessarily like it puts you at a disadvantage. But at the same time, there are certain advantages that I have because I'm white in America, and I'm very aware of that. But when it comes to like the baseline of just making money, when it comes to like, being like super successful, like we can argue about, systemic things that are holding people back and we agree and disagree. But just the baseline of making money, I had to disagree on that.
Being, a white straight male in the United States of America as opposed to a black, queer, female, what is the society set up? Who is the society set up for?
And even making it more personal, like when people are in positions of power and able to choose who they surround themselves with, they
I don't even know why he tried to do that. Like, he's gonna say something.
It's why
like,
you see like such a large like boys club at the top of like the Fortune 500 CEOs. It's why they make such a big deal about like women in places of power and women who do these things. It's because by and far across the board, it's a lot easier for the guys to be like, that's a man like me. You have a background similar.
Are you raising your hand? Don't speak.
Oh wait. Just generalize that rule.
I'm sorry. I spoke over this nigga.
You know what? Like I think America is such a big country that you cannot just generalize that rule all over the country. Like small cities, small towns with different cities, different states, everything that changes like vastly.
It's a big country, but there's only two classes. There's the 1% and there's the 99%.
There is two disservices to this entire video. One is that he's speaking about black people, and two is that he's just not talking enough. Beautiful ass voice. Oh my god.
I'm happy.
Is he on pumping? Pumping, Tarek!
I married my college sweetheart. We've been together for 13 years. I have a healthy son and a healthy daughter. And honestly, everything else is just kind of bullshit. Like once you have that, the people that you love are doing okay. To me, that's ultimate happiness. And there's nothing there's nothing else that I want other than that. So I'm very happy.
I would have said like you asked me this question like a couple months ago or like maybe a year ago. It would have been a different question. That's why I hesitated.
Yeah. It depends on who you're with.
No one noticed that you hesitated. I'm not gonna lie.
Who you're with in the very close environment is a huge factor. It's going to change that. But I could say that I do live paycheck to paycheck, but I know that I do something that I absolutely love and I'm so passionate about.
You should not have to live paycheck to paycheck.
I'm a filmmaker. This year was when I just decided to study acting, and that was truly that's my true passion, to be honest. Like I love shooting as a hobby.
I love that he's happy, bro.
How many people can go to work with a big fat smile on their face? So it's like how many people can do that? Like, dude, I know people who've been doing the same job for 30s, even though they're making an amazing paycheck. Everything, they're like financially, stable. Everything, they can go to Saint-Tropez, and they just like, it's a beautiful life, right? But he goes to work and he's like, oh my god. That for me is just like, no, like no paycheck is worth that.
You deserve it all, sir. King, you deserve it all right? Nothing but happiness. nothing but happiness.
Yeah, I would agree. I kind of do something I enjoy on a daily basis too. I help sort of serve the underserved and work on an investing platform that anyone can use.
That'd be nice.
And I just moved to California, so there's a lot to be happy about.
Same.
Yeah.
And I teach, you know, and I love what I do.
Oh, wait, his card came out. How much does he make? 60K? That's pretty calm. I'm not gonna lie, that's calm. That's calm. The fact that nigga makes 10K does not make sense to me, but
yeah.
And I teach, you know, and I love what I do. So,
well, and to what you're saying too, it's really the people you surround yourself with. It's something like you're the average of your best 5 friends or something along those lines. So I've got a lot of good friends and close family, and yeah.
In the United States, I think we have a lot to be happy about and thankful for. Our homes are not being bombed by the U.S. military, so that's nice. That's huge.
That would be,
Yeah, I think what you said I just related to so fully. Like, I am fortunate enough
I think
to
what he
have
just said, why did he say that?
said.
All he said is our homes are not being bombed. Why do you relate to this? Sir, why do you relate to this? I mean, what? We all relate to it. No one else is saying that.
We love so much. We live
bro.
together. We're happy.
He's
and
cooked.
we have a life plan that we're working towards, where we're going to go to college.
He's cooked.
Get married one day and have a wonderful family and have a wonderful life, whether we be.
And let me guess, in your marriage, he's the best man.
Wonderful family and have a wonderful.
He's the
life,
best man
whether
at your
we be
wedding.
At the top of the pay scale or at the bottom, we're gonna make it work and we're gonna be happy.
Or are you talking about we're as in you two? No, this is cooked.
Because, like everyone has said here, it's about the people around you. They matter so
The
much
people
more
around
than
you.
anything else.
For me, especially like, you know, in the last year or so, and the reason
like,
I said
that's the
that it would
one.
be different if you'd asked me a little bit ago, I was, yes, working jobs that I loved, but a large part of me was committed to those jobs more than the rest of the other aspects of my life. So I was putting work over things, you know, chasing a bigger paycheck, chasing a bigger payout, chasing a bigger accolade, chasing an achievement. And even though on the outside to everyone looking in, they were all like, Kai, you've made it, you're 22, you're doing, you know, all these cool things in social media, you're traveling the world, you're working with the biggest influencers, why aren't you happy? It was because there was a part of me that had put such a pedestal, or put money on such a pedestal at a young age of seeing it as this thing that once I have money, I'll be happy. And I just had denied myself happiness. I had kind of kept prolonging it further and further and said, oh, when I get to this point, I'll be happy. Oh, when I get to this point, I'll be happy. And that was kind of the question that I was gonna ask was like, if happiness was like more of a sliding scale, would you say that you're 70% happy and like would money change that?
Having money is a blessing, but it also can be a curse to the wrong people sometimes because they start asking these questions and if they don't get answered, they kill themselves. Like that's what happens. Because you're like, oh, I'll just keep making more. Like I can.
In what reality?
I never had like a bad problem with it, but I just like really asked these questions and when I really internalized it, I was like, what is the metric for happiness? Like what decides if I'm happy? And I realized it came down to one simple thing. It was contentment. Like satisfaction and contentment. And not just like with everything, but like if I died right now, would I be okay with it? Like with what I've done, with the time that I've spent, like the way that I'm gonna die, right? Not just about dying right now, like, am I dying in a way that I'm proud of dying? And when I really thought about it, I like 2 years ago, I was like, oh, you know, I'm doing this for money. And I had made this money and I was like, okay, I don't wanna do it for money anymore. Like, I wanna do it for something else. This is not gonna drive me anymore. And I realized like, okay, cool, like, I've gone to a scale where I can take care of so many others. And if I keep crushing it, I can take care of more. So that's kind of like the contentment where it's like, oh, cool. Even if I don't ever get to take care of like millions and millions of more people, I'm in the process and pursuit of that, and I'm content with that.
I would almost say that I was happier back when I was working at Chick-fil-A and like being a paintball referee.
No, I hate this toxic mentality. Shut the fuck up. You don't get the talk. You don't get the talk no more. And just the fact, I'll hear him out, bro. I want to skip the black nigga too.
Dude. Because I resonated with that so much, though, man. It was
No, I don't want to hear him. He resonated with that nigga's toxic mentality, bro. I promise you, there's certain things I just won't allow. Like, a nigga's talking about I was happier when I was broke. Shut the fuck up. Like, yo, we could trade bank accounts. I ain't tripping. Like, dead ass.
Out of my situation.
Good talking to you, fellas. Good chat.
Court game unite.
What about group hug?
Yeah. That'd be video. I'm not gonna lie.